Pick up the phone. We're calling.
This is Edwig.
This is Mwila,
your host for this podcast. Welcome to our first official podcast.
Yeah. Well, on YouTube, it would be like our third episode.
Yeah.
And then, hopefully we'll be able to put this on all other platforms and it will be our first there.
We're really excited to have you guys here. We have a lot we want to say. We like to talk. So, this is the best thing that we can do for ourselves and hopefully for you guys as well.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to create a community that is positive, that is constantly learning and willing to grow. So you can also find us on Instagram, which I'm super excited about because it's so bubbly. It's just positive, good vibes on there.
Yeah, it's a lot of good energy. So
yeah, hopefully we can create that in this podcast, and it's a time for you guys to escape and just relax and hear the conversations that we have, and hopefully we can communicate back and forth with you guys.
We're bringing you guys a pretty interesting topic today that I think we're both excited about. And it's about relationships with your parents. That's one of the most important relationships in anyone's life. It shapes who you are, it shapes who you become. And we just really wanted to kind of explore it and also explore our own relationship styles with our parents, what they were like growing up, what they're like right now, and how we feel like it's changed.
And I think maybe I didn't think about that until now, which is maybe my bad, but maybe changing that to just caretakers.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And just, whoever was able to take care of you or be an umbrella over your life as you're growing up is also a part of this conversation. So, whoever you looked up to, whether it was your grandparents or your aunt or, it doesn't really matter. It's all a part of the the vibe. I kind of lost myself there. Anyways, I guess before we start talking about the types of parenting, which I think is a little bit informative and less of a conversation, what type of relationship do you have with your parents?
So I thought about this, and as you know, growing up, I had two moms, my mom's older sister and my mom, and I have very different relationships with both of them. So with my mom's older sister, she was, I would say, my main parent when I was younger. So growing up, I was super, super close to her. And even now, I feel like I can tell her pretty much everything. With my mom, we weren't always close. But as I have grown up, I've grown so much closer to my mom. If anything big happens or if I'm stuck in any situation, she's the first person that I want to tell. It wasn't always like that. But as I've grown up, I've become closer to her as well. So, but even in my closeness now with both of them, it's still very different. So with my mom's older sister, we even like the same shows. Yeah. We can talk about boys and, other sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
And with my mom, we have the same sense of humor. So every time I call her, I know I'm just going to be laughing. And like I said, in time of crisis, she's the first person that I want to tell. So it's different kinds of closeness, but, very close to each of them.
Yeah, connected. Mm-hmm. I think I had different, types of relationships with my parents. My dad was, I kind of practiced this word for like a while, the disciplinarian.
Still saying it wrong, babe.
Disciplinarian. Disciplinarian.
There you go.
That was like his role from like as far back as I can remember. So maybe 5 till like I was 12. He was the person that would correct us if we were wrong. Like if we were rude, if I didn't do well in like my academics, my dad is the person I would have to face at the end of the day. My mom kind of had this laid back type of role when it came to like, disciplining me. I can't speak for the boys, but I'm the oldest. Excuse me. I'm the oldest, and I have 2 younger brothers. So there was a lot of, I felt like, responsibility on my part to be like a role model and stuff. So I feel like the structuring was more on my part than the boys. I don't think they experienced that. I mean, the second one did, which is Kay. Kuka, I don't really think really understood
your experience.
Well, yeah. Well, mine and my brother's the middle child, but I think the relationship we had with my dad was very different. To the one that he had with my dad. I think they are able to be buddy. He can crack jokes. He can be rude. Not rude, but like you know, he can cross the boundaries that we were never able to cross, because if we did, we would have some backlash. Like, it was disrespectful, you know?
Yeah.
So I think when it was only up until I was like 12, my dad couldn't hit me anymore. Not in an abusive way, but he just could not, you know. I think if you're African, you kind of relate towards this, maybe even black. Let me not just limit it to Africans, but if you're black, you kind of relate to the fact that your parents would just whoop your ass. Like, there's no ifs, buts, wins about it. But when I turned 12, and I think it's because I was a girl and I am a girl, it's because I am female, he couldn't hit me, you know, my boobies were growing and stuff. So that would just be weird. And my mom was more, I don't know, I felt like, I think I had a rocky relationship with my mom in the beginning. I don't know if this is everybody's experience with mothers and girls. I felt like she was not as hands-on with me, whereas my dad was very hands-on. But my mom also traveled a lot when we were growing up. She's the one that used to do business outside of the country, so I didn't get to see her much. I think that has changed now. She's my best friend right now. Like, I can call her and be like, Mom, my boyfriend did this, or you know, recently we had a conversation and she's like, Willa, did you have you had sex? She did. She did. And I was like, do you want to talk about it? You know? So we're best friends now. And I think that's most people's relationships with their mothers. Most females' relationships with their mothers, I think they become stronger as you get older.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my relationship. I don't know if that kind of explained it, but it was very different. And I think now I'm really, really close to my parents in a different way. My dad is more emotional. We connect on an emotional level. Like, if I'm having a really shitty, crappy day, I can call my dad and he will figure it out. My mom, on the other hand, is like, get up, girl. Why are you crying? You know, she doesn't really assess the emotion. She is more of like and that's just her personality. She's very strong. She's a very strong woman. And I don't know, you know, that's another conversation for another therapy session, but they deal with emotions very differently. So I know who to go to for whatever problem I'm having. If it's an emotional one, I know I'm going to call my dad. Yeah. If it's like a pick me up, we're going to laugh, let's get things going, I'm gonna call my mom.
Yeah,
you know.
So yeah, for me, I would say first of all, I can relate on the younger sibling having a way different relationship. To the parents, because the stuff that my sister gets away with saying, I could just never dream of ever saying that to my mom. And then I wanted to say, what did I want to say? Oh man. Oh, okay. I wanted to say, growing up, I didn't have the, I don't want to say luxury, but I just didn't have the ability to separate different roles, because I only had my mom. So I didn't have like the cool mom or the cool dad to go to. I just had the one mom who was a disciplinarian, sometimes a cool mom, sometimes a strict mom, and she was all in one, right? So I think that's why also growing up, we weren't as close, because I didn't know how to kind of separate that. Like, maybe someone who had just come from disciplining me, and then the next day maybe I want to tell her something personal. I didn't know how I could go about doing that, because it was just one person.
That's a very interesting, like, I guess not thought, but experience, because I don't think I can relate to that, because they had different roles, right? So you know who you would talk to for what circumstance, but your mom kind of had to be the strong one, the soft one, the kind one, the stern one. So it must have been really, you know, difficult on both parts, I can imagine. Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, now I understand the amount of responsibility she had. And like I said, I genuinely just don't know how she managed to do it. And that's why one of the reasons I've become closer to her, because I understand more. I mean, I don't understand fully what she was going through, what she could have gone through. But now I understand, like, you know, when certain things happened during my childhood, it was because of something else deeper. And it wasn't because she was out to get me. You know what I mean? So,
it's just, I get that.
So your relationship with your parents has changed as you've grown,
It has.
Right?
I think, and I think my friends say this all the time. They're very surprised with what type of relationship I have with my parents.
I, for one, am.
It is very freeing, you know? We are able to have conversations, and I think, I can't remember whether I've actually talked about this or I'm about to talk about it for the first time, but my dad decided to have a conversation with all three of us, me and my brothers, and he sat us down and said, let's have a conversation. I don't want to have a physical relationship with you guys where if there's something wrong, I hit you all the time. That's how I was taught to parent, and that's not how I want to continue parenting. So if there's anything wrong, I want you guys to be able to talk to me about it. And I think that was such a pivoting moment in our relationship, because not only was he able to tell us when we did something wrong, but we could freely approach him and have a conversation if we felt uncomfortable about something, if we felt like, the way he approached a certain situation was too harsh. He allowed us, and the barrier that we once had was broken. And I think that was really important in my relationship with him. I could talk to him about anything. Moving forward.
And I think that's amazing, because a lot of kids don't get that, especially in African homes. You don't really have a space where you feel safe to say, I think the way you treated me in this situation, I didn't appreciate that. Or I can't even say that right now. Like, how can I go to my mom and say the way you treated me on da-da-da, I did not. Well, you won't say it like that, but even like expressing that discomfort. But like even expressing that discomfort and like just, because sometimes parents are wrong. But I feel like as a parent, a lot of them feel like I am the parent, so how can I be wrong? Or, but you're human.
And no, even if they know they're wrong,
they won't admit that they're wrong.
I think it's the fact of, I don't, I'm not going to speak for a parent because I'm not a parent, but I'm assuming I think their mentality is if I'm able to tell my child that I'm wrong, then like, the parent figure is no longer there. I remember this one conversation that I had with my dad. This was when I got deported from Canada. It was, I was going out with Mercy, who's like, I love this human being, but she had come over and do you remember that jumpsuit I got from
the blue one?
Dude, I didn't even have to talk about it. It's the one that, you know what I mean?
Yes,
oh my God.
Yes,
okay. So part of my, part of my butt was showing, but it wasn't really showing. Like if I stood a certain way, you could see it, but you know what I mean? Like it was sneaky.
Like, could you pick up a pen in it?
How low?
What do you mean?
So I decided to wear that. And he was driving us to the club. First we're going to karaoke, then we're going to go to the club. And so this is like maybe 2 years ago. And he's like, where are you going? And I looked at him and I was like, I'm 22. Where the hell do you think I didn't say that, but in my brain, I'm thinking, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to wear. I'm like 21, 22. And he said, I am not comfortable with you wearing that. And I got so mad because I felt like, are you kidding me? I am an adult. It really does not matter what I freaking wear. I remember entering that car. I was mad. Okay, first of all, I had like half a bottle of wine. That's not the point though. I arrived at that karaoke thing and I was sitting down with Mercy and we had a conversation and my dad sat down and he said, let's talk about it. He did not leave until we spoke about it. And he said, okay, tell me what you think and why you felt like you were comfortable enough to wear that in this environment. And I said, because I'm an adult. Like, is it my fault if guys are lusting over me? And he said, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about what you're wearing or like how comfortable you feel. I don't want to dictate, how you live in Canada is very different from how you're going to live here. It's not you I'm worried about. It's the men that are going to surround you when I leave that I'm worried about. The disrespect that you will face. And I never got it until he said it. So had we not had that conversation, I would have probably gone to bed so mad at him. But I said, I'm not going to leave until we talk about it. And I'm going to tell you why I felt like you should not have worn what you were going to wear and why I told you to change. I don't want to dictate what you wear, but I'm not comfortable with the type of men that are going to be in the environment that you're going to be in.
And that's such a valid point, because I feel like we kind of forget once we go back home that things are not the same. Like people will literally get physically or verbally abused for like wearing like really, really short stuff. But as I feel like just being told what to do is...
Oh my God. You remember that one time?
Which one?
When we went to, it was Canada Day. I wore that same jumpsuit. Do you remember who approached me and they're like, okay.
Okay. We'll leave that
out. Yeah. Anyways, they really, it was kind of weird because in my head I'm thinking you've been here for a while, so you should know that I can wear, anyways, that's besides the point. Let's dive into the types of parenting styles and what we relate to, or what we feel like our parents
what their styles are.
Yeah.
Did you get distracted?
I did.
Are you tipsy?
I am, but I also got distracted because your phone's out there, so I'm staring at you. No, that's fine. So I'm going to start with authoritative, which is, research says that it is one of the best type of parenting styles, and this is maybe me geeking out, but it's the psychology part of my life that I want to share with you guys.
Psych degree, what?
You know what it is. So this type of parenting is highly involving and is great for kids. And these kind of parents set high standards for the kids, but also give them guidance to do well and help them achieve those standards. So
what's
basically,
the style?
Authoritative.
Okay.
Right. So it's high demands, but also high responsiveness. So if there's a standard that they're going to set, they're going to be there for their kids, not tell them what to do, but just maybe, I guess tell and guide might be the same thing, but guide them and help them make the decision that they need to. If they're going to fall, they're going to be there when they fall, basically.
That's perfect. I feel like that's... Yeah. I don't want to say there's a perfect style, because I feel like there's cons to every type of style, but that seems like, because I had the question previously that what if those high expectations just can't be lived up to?
Yeah.
So like the kids, they have everything to support them and to guide them, but they just can't reach those high expectations. Then what happens then, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where the responsiveness comes in. I think a parent is able to acknowledge if a kid isn't doing well in this particular setting, which I think... I love African parents. I think they're the strongest human beings on the planet, but I also think they have their faults. I feel like, especially when it comes to academics, if you're not doing well in school, you are the, I don't know how to explain it, but you are basically good for nothing. Like it's a running joke in the Black community that, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer,
exactly.
You're not going to do well in school. And I guess maybe that's what we grew up with, but that's where the responsiveness comes in. If your kid is not doing well academically, what else can they do well in? Is it sports? Is it music? Is it, maybe they're born to be in front of a camera or something. Anyways.
Yeah, I think also this is a bit of a divergence, but in cases where kids aren't, academically strong, I feel like maybe only now parents are starting to embrace the idea of careers outside of those traditional ones that people consider successful or like respectable careers. But even now, I feel like if I told my mom, like, I want to quit work and start doing social media, she'll be like,
what the hell are you doing?
What is that?
Yeah.
But I feel like once they see the money coming in, they'll be like, it's cool. Because I feel like, although we feel like they just don't want us to do what we want to do, they have genuine concerns behind that, because they want us to be stable. They want us to, make a living for ourselves. So I do get that worry, but people are making money from the weirdest things now. Like,
I was gonna start doing feet pictures. Did I tell you?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, people make hella money.
I mean, you didn't know it's my toes, would you?
You should do it. You have nice feet. I would know them though. If I see them, I'll be like,
I'm gonna do like I'm actually gonna do feet pictures.
Really?
Yeah.
All the best, eh?
Hey, thank you.
I can paint them for you. Then you can give me 15% commission.
10.
Okay, cool.
Okay, permissive.
Okay, so the next parenting style is permissive, and this one is characterized by low demands and high responsiveness. So they're very responsive to the needs of their children, be it emotionally or mentally, whatever it is, but they don't set limits or are very inconsistent in enforcing boundaries. When I was growing up in high school, I know a lot of people whose parents had this parenting style, and I used to envy them so much, because when you're 16 or 15, like, no rules is like the ideal life that you want to live, or no boundaries, right?
Yeah.
But I think they are important, as they do kind of shape the people we become, right? And especially with boundaries, for example, everyone needs to set boundaries for how they want to be treated, and they also need to know how to respect other people's boundaries. So if they never experience those growing up, they don't really understand what boundaries are. How are they going to be proper functioning adults?
Funny enough, studies show that kids that have permissive parents are more likely to show signs of anxiety, depression, and can be aggressive and have bad social skills.
Really?
Now, I don't know, but that's what studies show.
That's interesting.
I think I would rather free-ranging parents than permissive.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about what type of parenting style that is, I guess, up next. And these kind of parents believe in letting their kids be independent by letting them make more decisions in their lives and less supervision. They still have rules in place and want their kids to have some kind of structure and have respect for the law.
Yeah, that was definitely my mom.
Yeah.
In regards to academics, she just let me do whatever, man. Pick my subjects, and she just kind of trusted that I just knew that I had to work hard.
I don't think my dad trusted me.
Really? Why not?
Okay. In my defense, I think I went to different schools. Like, I was the test tube baby. I always make a joke about that. They had to kind of figure out which school was right. So my brothers have always had, like, you know, whenever they found that right school with me, that's the school my brothers were going to go to.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to
You're
test
the oldest
anything.
child. You're like the placebo.
Exactly. Actually, when I passed my grade 7, my dad was really surprised. I think he actually went to drink. I was well above the high. What is it? The average. I was actually in there. I'm not going to lie. But he was really surprised. And I think academically, I was a little, I don't want to say challenged, but shy. I don't know. I struggled academically because I wasn't confident enough. You know, when you move from school to school to school, it's difficult for you to find your placing. So it's not like I wasn't smart.
Yeah.
I just wasn't confident enough in my abilities to do well.
I don't know. I can't relate. I went to one school primary school, one school high school. Okay, I went to
Weren't
two
you the
universities.
prefect?
I was deputy head girl. I was such a good child, though. I feel like that's why my mom could free range most of my... Because I didn't really do things that I wasn't supposed to do. I was pretty boring, honestly. My older sister,
do you know
she was the opposite of me.
In life? Wait, no. I don't think you understand. I love your older sister. And I also love your younger sister. I feel like they have such free spirits in life.
They're so different from me. Yeah. But I feel like...
I mean, I love you too.
Yeah, you have to. Okay. But I feel like I feel like my older sister lived. Like, sometimes I kind of regret being a good kid, honestly. But, you know, it's okay. We move still. Next parenting style, babe. Always me.
Yeah, authoritarian.
The next one is authoritarian. And this one is characterized by high demands and low responsiveness. So these parents with this kind of style have very high expectations for their children, but they provide very little in terms of support and feedback, as well as nurturing. So these parents also tend to punish mistakes harshly, and when they do when they do give feedback, it's almost always negative, not encouraging, and very downgrading.
So kids that have authoritarian parents are said to more likely engage in behaviors such as smoking, skipping school, and underage drinking.
Wow.
And you know what? Were you going to say
Yes.
something? I was going to say, I think this type of parenting is what most, there's a little bit of this in most African parents. The type of, authoritarian. You're right. The type of authoritarian figure in the household, like, you have to be obedient. If I say something, it's my way and no other way.
Yeah.
And there's a hierarchy in the family. I'm the parent, you're the child. You can't talk back at me. That's final. That is what it is.
Yeah. I think the only difference, though, is I don't think they're ever neglectful. No, like they'll make sure you're fed, they'll make sure you're going to school, but it's my way or the highway.
Yeah, but I also think, do you remember, okay, I don't know if you're that kid or not, but I know I had friends who didn't tell their parents they were going out to parties. So they would, drink and smoke, and they were having sex at like a young age. And I mean, it's not to say that if you're having sex at a young age you have a certain type of parenting. I'm just saying, like, some of the friends that I had strict parents that you couldn't even have a conversation with, which I think is it's like a domino effect if you have a household like that. And I think at some point I experienced that.
Yeah.
You can't have conversations about sex. So where else are you going to learn it? If you're not going to learn it from the household and you're not going to learn it from your parents, about safe sex, they don't teach us in school.
Yeah.
You're going to learn from your friends. What are they doing,
Yeah. And in most cases, they don't know much about it as well.
Like,
so
you're still trying
it's just
to
bad information moving around through and through.
Exactly. I feel like this type of parenting lacks communication.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, like, when you said they used to, like, smoke, drink, whatever, have sex at a very young age, I never even like tried to lie about where I was going, because I wasn't allowed outside after sunset, and I didn't have the guts to lie, because there are people who could lie through their teeth about where they were going, but I was just always so scared of getting caught. Like, I was so scared.
I did it one time.
Really?
I did.
Was it a good night? Because I feel like all night I'll be like, oh.
It wasn't actually.
Yeah.
It was the lantern night or something. Actually, something horrible happened that night. I don't know why. Maybe we weren't involved, but I had gone to Langiwe's house, and my parents, they didn't. Every time I was going to Langiwe is my sister, basically I love that human being. But if I was going to Langiwe's house, it was not a problem. There was no question. And it's not like I was devious about it. That's just what it was.
Yeah.
And I know that I didn't want to ask them because it would cost money, and my parents did not want to pay. Like, I hated asking my parents for money as an adult. I think not an adult, as the oldest child, you get to see issues in the family. Like, if we're broke, that you're having bread and peanut butter for dinner, not because you want to have bread and peanut butter, but because there's no money. Whereas the boys wouldn't get it. It's just dinner,
Yeah.
So I always felt
they'll
nervous.
probably be like, oh, fun.
I know, yeah. I always felt nervous to ask my parents for money. So this one time I just decided to go to Langiwe's house. And I remember that night was really crappy. And I'd never done it again, because I don't like lying to my parents.
Yeah.
It makes me itch. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. I remember, babe, I actually did it once. Like, I lied. I used Gwande, my friend. I just said I was going to her house, but there was this party, babe. Let me tell you, it was called Breakdown, okay? That's where everything went down. And I'd never been. I was like, you know what? I want to go. And it was during those times of, like, those colored skinny jeans. You mash them with
First of all, did you have the green ones? I feel like
I had green, blue, purple, you name it. Anyways, that one time. But I actually had a pretty fun night.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of like...
God was teaching me a lesson. I don't know what God was doing with you, but personally, he just did not give us a great night.
Yeah.
Did you do it again?
No, I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't have guts, man. I was a coward.
What type of communication do you have with your parents?
With my parents? With my mom now, I feel like it's more open. I told you about yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Like, I finally told her, like, I have a boyfriend. And she's like...
Can I start spilling secrets?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. Anyways, but yeah, like, I could have never told her something like that. Even, like, last year, I couldn't have. But yesterday, I was just like, you know what? I want her to know. So I just, like, went ahead and I told her. But I'm feeling much, much freer to open up to her about stuff, and that's also just because we've grown closer as I've grown up.
Do you think it's because you're getting older and now, like, you're able to have conversations that were difficult? Like, like, as you get older, family problems. Like,
I think so. I think so. Because also when I was like right now, what can she say? Like, I have my degree, I'm working, I can have a boyfriend.
Let me tell you something. Actually, let me talk about this. Let me speak on it.
What happened?
Not only do you have your degree, you have a job, you are in your own freaking apartment, you are doing the damn thing.
Thank you.
You are doing amazing.
Thank you.
She is really an adult.
Okay, so before you go ahead, I was gonna say I was so surprised when I saw how you talk to your parents. I was like, that's a thing? Like, there are people who talk to their parents like this, and I've always been jealous of it, because I'm like, this is like, it must be nice, just to say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Like I told you, I think we spoke about it earlier. I can't remember what I spoke about. I've had like 2 glasses of wine, but we had my dad kind of created that open communication. I also chose at a young age to not lie to my parents.
Yeah.
I didn't like the relationships I saw with my friends' parents. They were not open. So meaning they could do stuff behind the back and it was uncomfortable. For example, if I had a guy over, I would introduce that guy to my dad and to my mom. Only because I didn't want them to not trust me moving forward. I didn't want them to be suspicious if I was with a certain... They would just be like, hey, you're with... I was about to start dropping names, but you're with Jake, for example. It's just the environment that I wanted. I didn't want a lack of trust between me and my parents. So now, if they have a question, they will just ask me about it. Like I think I told you the other time, my mom was freaking out that I had smoked weed before. And she's like, you did a video? Like, what is this about? Let's have a conversation. And we had a conversation about it. Even if I'd mentioned it multiple times, I just don't think she's paying attention.
Yeah.
And things like sex, I was able to tell her, I mean, it's happened, or it's going to happen, or I'm thinking about it, or, hey, this one time, about it, I was in a relationship and I this person I was in a relationship with was very, not forceful, but sex was a huge part of their requirement to be in that relationship. And I just did not want to be in a relationship with that person if that was a requirement. Like I was not ready. So I don't want to, it's just, I'm not comfortable. I talked to my mom about it and I said, we broke up. They spoke one time, but I was like, she's like, you're not with him anymore. I was like, yeah, he was moving too fast and I was uncomfortable with the idea of us being together based on that fact. Like, so conversations like that most people are afraid to have. I think, my parents have met the partner that I'm with today. They've had conversations. Yeah, I don't know.
I think in as much, though, as you chose that you wanted an honest relationship with them, I think I commend them as well for giving you a space where you felt safe enough to be able to do that. Because I feel like, I feel like no kid wants to lie to their parents, but sometimes they feel like they have no choice.
That's true.
Because they want to do some things, but they feel like they could never be able to bring that to them.
Right. So I think it's not like it works both ways. As much as I wanted to be able, to talk to them, they also created an environment for me to be able to speak to them.
Yeah, you just have cool parents, bro. I don't know what I can say. You just have cool parents.
It is true. They are very... Maybe, no, I there's not an excuse for them. I think they also had to unlearn a lot of things that they grew up learning. It was a process. Like, we were not always like that.
Yeah, for sure.
We had, like, I couldn't approach my dad about certain things because I was genuinely afraid because I thought I would get a whooping. Yeah. It was only until that ended, that part of our relationship was closed, and he was able to have an open communication, type of relationship with us, that I was able to have a conversation. So I think that relationship has evolved. It wasn't always like that. I think they're cool, but they also had to learn to be cool parents to be open. Like, even conversations that are very touchy and weird, you can tell that they're like, okay, but they will open themselves up to it. So, if you're a parent and you're listening to this, it takes time and it takes practice. You're not always going to get it right. I think my dad got it wrong a couple of times. Kawe Kandeke, you got it wrong a couple of times.
Wow, you're really calling him out.
No, but he learned, and I think the difference is he admits when he's wrong. Yeah. Which makes me see him as a human being. He's not just a parent. He's human.
I feel like that's probably only 0.05% of African parents who admit, I'm wrong. Wrong? What is wrong?
It's true.
Yeah, and I wanted to say it makes it so much harder for your kid to say what they feel. If they feel uncomfortable about something, even if they feel like they've been treated unfairly, I feel like it's very hard for them to come out to you and say it if you're always right?
Did I tell you I thought I was adopted?
Yeah, you said. Didn't you run away one time?
Okay. You did not have to do all of that. But yes, I actually thought because my mom just always treated me different.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to maybe touch base. We didn't really talk about this. We kind of wanted our conversations to be organic. We, we each had something we want to talk about. But I also think there is gender bias within African families.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
The way they treat my brothers, I think it's different now because I'm not home anymore. So they have to take care of the home. My brothers cook now. They clean the house. They do all of those things. I think it's also because they have no other choice.
Yeah.
But the relationships that fathers or male figures have with their son and with their daughters are very different.
Very different.
I think they are very detached.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to my brother the other day, actually, which is why I thought about this. And we were talking about how I think he had a weird bad dream or whatever. And he texted, sorry, Kay, I'm about to spill your secrets. I apologize. He doesn't tell me everything. I just thought this was really important for the podcast. But he texted his group chat or whatever, and mainly males. I think it was a boy group chat. And he said, I love you guys or something. And like they didn't say it back or whatever. And he's like, I think my friends are not emotional.
Yeah.
And it made me think, I was like, why is he able? Because I can call my brother and be like, yo, love you, bro. And he's like, love you, bro. We have a very close relationship as, the five of us. We can say I love you freely. If we're sad, he's able to call me and be like, yo, I'm not doing well. I'm really sad. And if I'm sad, I'm able to talk to my parents about it.
Yeah.
And I realized there's such a different dynamic. And he spoke to me about it. Actually, he mentioned this really pivotal moment in their relationship earlier on. He was going through a really stressful time. I'm going to speak on this. Mom and Dad, I don't really know where you're at right now. So, I mean, if you want to correct, you can correct me. But they had separated at that particular time. Now, I wasn't there. I was here. And he was basically explaining how he was super stressed. It was 4 and 5 mock exams. Something happened with his friends. Mom and Dad were not like in a good space. They had to move from place to place. And, 1 weekend there was my dad, 1 weekend there was my mom. It was an issue. And he remembers like Kuka, who's my younger brother, the youngest one in the family, arguing with my dad. They had a rocky relationship at that time. And while they were arguing, he just broke down and cried.
Yeah.
And he was so stressed. And I think he couldn't articulate that at that time, but he was really sad and so stressed. And he remembers, after my dad spoke to the both of them, he sent Kuka upstairs, and Dad was like, okay, we're not, like, do you want to talk about it? And he said, I don't want to talk about it. And he said, I'm not going to leave until you tell me what's wrong. So if you want to sit here all night, we're going to sit here all night until you're until you're comfortable enough to talk to me about it.
Yeah.
And they spoke about it. And I was like, damn, I never really realized that, they have a relationship of their own. And I think maybe that's why he's able to be in his own emotion and articulate what he's feeling, because Papa kind of created that environment for him. And I don't think a lot of fathers, and I'm not saying, this is no fault of, this is just my dad's parenting style. He will sit you down and talk you through it. And I think it's really important for male figures to do that in the family, because then you're able to manage and articulate your emotions and feelings in different environments, whether it's a class, especially in relationships when you get older, and relationships with your peers. It helps you manage your emotions. And anyways,
that's such an amazing way to go about those kinds of situations, because I know a lot of us growing up were hit. I was never hit, but I'm just saying, y'all were hit.
Everybody that wasn't hit, I look at you and I'm thinking, how the hell did you turn out to be an okay
I probably
human
was
being?
only hit when I was like 6 or something.
What was life like? What type of discipline did
I told
you,
you I was a good kid. She would just shout.
I am a good kid. What are you?
You're okay, babe. You're okay. You are naughty sometimes. You're okay. Anyways, but I was gonna say, like, some of these styles I feel like they get passed on from generation to generation. Our parents probably hit us because their parents hit them. And this was me. Like, when anyone ever asked me, like, will you hit your kids? I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And I don't know why I would say that, because I was never hit growing up. But hitting someone does not solve anything.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't solve anything ever. So the fact that he's adopted that style of parenting where he'll sit you down, he will talk to you find out what's going on, find out what's wrong. How can we fix it together? I feel like that's more productive and more conducive to growth than hitting your kid, right? And I feel like that's maybe a very unpopular opinion for a lot of African households, because even me, like, my hand was so loose with my little sister. I'm sorry, Tapio, I'm sorry. But she was so naughty, and I was just used to, like, you know, and my mom's like, why are you hitting my child? But, you know, it's just something that was in me. But I feel like just sitting someone down and talking to them, because when you've hit them, what have you done?
Yeah.
What have you done?
Honestly, I think there's a lot of, I don't know if this is a heavy term, but I think it causes generational curses if you have a negative physical relationship with your kids.
Yeah.
I remember, damn, I don't know how honest we're meant to be on this podcast.
You can be as honest as you feel comfortable.
Okay, so my dad stopped hitting me when I was 12.
Yeah.
But I think I had a weird fear with males.
Hitting you?
Not like that, but like it just, I think as a child, it created a negative relationship with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
So I remember the relationship I'm in right now, my partner was like, we were arguing and he was reaching to go over me to grab something. It was right next to me and I froze. I remember freezing and I ducked. I just ducked.
That's low-key PTSD, bro.
I know.
Oh, high-key, whatever.
No, I ducked. And he's like, what are you doing? And I froze. Like, I sat there and I kind of looked up because he was surprised. He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's like, did you think I was going to hit you? And I looked at him and I said, yeah, I'm actually nervous just thinking about it. But he's like, why would you think that? Why would you even think that? I was like, you're raising your voice, and I associate raising your voice and the physical act of you reaching. I just thought you were going to hit me. And he's like, I'm not going to touch. I wouldn't touch you. Why would after that, he held me and he's like, you know, I want you to be comfortable.
That's so sad, bro.
But it was only after that experience, we spoke about it, and he kind of picked my brain. He's like, why would you react that way? And I realized that as I was growing up, that's the relationship I had when my father raised his voice when I was like 11, 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
And the next would be a beating if I didn't. And it was always academics. My dad never hit me for anything else. Like, it was always, so you can imagine, if you know I was beat, then you know my academics were really rough every term.
Yeah.
But I was never naughty. Like, I wasn't disrespectful. So academically is when he would hit me. So I would associate raising your voice with something bad's about to happen, and that physical act of him reaching. Yeah. Anyways, I realized there's actually a lot that goes on. Yeah. When you hit your kid, like I said, he didn't hit me past 12, but there's still things that you have to unlearn.
Ish, I'm sorry. That sounds rough. That sounds really rough. Yeah. I grew up in a household of just like all women, so it wasn't. You know,
that must have been vibes though.
It was vibes.
I feel like it must have been fun.
Yeah, I think the only male figures in my life were my grandpa and like my older cousin that we grew up with. But yeah, it was just mostly us women, just me, my mom, my sister.
Do you know what's weird?
What?
So I was lazy. I still am when it comes to waking up in the morning. I hate like I'm not a morning person. But I would wake up when my father got up, and then when he left for work, because I would only be home 3 months out of the year, out of boarding school. And I knew, you know what would wake me up? You guys, this is kind of weird. His shoe.
Yeah.
So when it go,
yeah,
I would like instinctive, like I would get up. My body would just wake up. I'm like, I need to get up because my mom is gonna be mad. My dad's gonna be mad. I mean, obviously that relationship kind of changed, but
I feel like a lot of African households have really like cultivated this environment of fear within their kids. And I remember, okay, these were rough times, okay? Like it wasn't always like this, but these were rough times. There's a time when like, I think my mom would come back from work, so we would hear her at the gate. Everyone who was sitting down would stand up, find something to do, wash dishes that are already washed, sweep a floor that's already clean. Just do something, you know, just do something.
What is it about African parents and you're just being at peace with life? No. Seriously. seriously, what is it
You
that
can be at peace when you sleep.
What is it that agitates them? If you're not cleaning, you should be studying. Like, I know my mom would be like, "You're cooking and you're watching TV. You mean to tell me you can't just cook?" Okay, girl, but like, it's boiling. Like, what do you want me to do? It's boiling. Like, I can watch some. I think they hate it when your hands are free.
Yeah.
Anyways, communication. Sorry, we kind of like.
It's key. And I feel like a lot of parents don't know their kids. Like, they don't know their kids. And I feel like a lot as well are always complaining about, she just doesn't talk. She just doesn't say anything. Have you made it safe for her to come to you and say something? So a lot of parents are really raising strangers. And I know for a fact I don't want that when I finally do have kids in like
am I gonna be
8
an
years or whatever.
auntie soon? 8 years?
My mom was like, not before 30.
Your mom wants you to get pregnant after 30?
Well, she was like, she didn't say that exactly, but she had me in 28. And I told you, she said like, that was earlier than I anticipated. And I was like, you know the vibes. Because I'm not.
I think my mom had me at 20. Mom.
Really? I'm not in any rush at all. But anyways, when I do finally have kids, I want to be a mom that they can come to for things, Yeah. Are you going to give your kids the talk?
Yes.
Damn.
And the reason why is because I was a late bloomer. I think I learned about, no, I'm not going to tell you when, but I was
15, we know.
15, girl.
16? 17?
Wait, what is your question?
I don't know. We were talking about late blooming. You said I learned about something.
I can tell you my first kiss happened when I was 16.
Oh, okay.
So that is really late, I feel like, especially in the form that I was in. But I want to be able to have an environment where they can talk to me about. It's terrifying to learn things, sensitive things, outside of your home.
Yeah.
And if you don't teach your kids, the world is going to teach your child.
Yeah.
Trust and believe, I learned a lot of things from my friends.
But you know what my mom did? I think I've told you this story before, like with the period talk. She didn't even give me that. I was in grade 6, I think, and my sister... Oh, actually, maybe I was in like grade 5. My sister was in grade 6. She didn't give us the talk. She just went to some clinic, some hospital. She got a nurse. That nurse came to my primary school and talked to everyone. That's exactly what she did. So I feel like
your mom organized that and talked to everybody?
Yeah. They came to school and talked to us about periods and everything. So, she couldn't do it herself, but she found someone professional who was qualified to do it. Yeah. I just found that funny though, but I'll probably do the same. If I'm feeling awkward, I am not.
Oh my God, this fringe is in my eyeball. I feel like, no, babe, times are changing. I think you'll be able to talk to your kids about.
Probably.
I'm sure they'll probably be like, that's so gross.
They'll be like, Mom, stop.
Exactly. Like, I feel like our relationship is going to be very different.
Yeah.
Sorry, kind of like rambled on there. What else do you want to talk about?
That's all I have.
That's about it, eh?
Okay.
Yeah.
I also wanted to talk about, maybe just to like round this off, in terms of sometimes the words that parents say to their kids. And I know like when they get angry, it's just like a lashing out. And I feel like sometimes that anger is a bit misplaced. And it's just coming to us, your kids. But like, I feel like some of those words that parents say to their kids, they'll stay with them forever, because you can't forget words. And people are always saying like, you can get hit, tomorrow, like you've healed, you're fine. But words, they'll kind of stay with you. So I don't know if any parents are even going to watch this, but anyways, people of our generation who are going to watch this video, when you do grow up and have your own kids, I do urge you to take care when you say words to your kids, about what words you say to your kids, because it can affect them in life. Oh my God. And sometimes they can never forget what you're saying.
Sorry, Mom. I think we spoke about it this one time. I don't know. My parents have made some mistakes. I remember I hadn't cleaned the dishes. I've told you about this. I'm not remembering. Like when you just say words will stick with you. I was like, there's something I remembered my mom saying to me. And I've never let it go. I mean, I let it go, but now I'm thinking about it. I remember I hadn't like cleaned the dishes. And she told me like 4 times. Your mom tells you one time, you're like, I'll do it. And I'll do it. Go clean. When boy. That
what
means
does that mean?
dog you. Oh, I had never been so hurt in my life.
That's funny.
As a child, it wasn't funny, but I think I remember thinking, does she not think I'm beautiful? Like, what's wrong with me? And I think I had a conversation with her later on in life, but I'd carried that for such a long time. But yeah, I think the words that you say to your kids are really, they shape who your kids are. When you say they're stupid, when, you know, just especially, and you know, you can't fault your parents. They're going through a lot, especially this economic climate.
Yeah, and especially if it's a constant thing. If you keep getting told you're stupid or you're dumb, like, you know, it can be very Anyways, you know what? I think
there's a lot we have to say about this conversation. I think what would be really cool is if we had males or the opposite sex coming
just
here
to hear
talk
their
about,
perspective.
Their upbringing, because it must have been different, you know? I think the opposite sex is really close to their moms. I know my brothers are like this with mom. Like, that's like their best friend. So it would be really interesting to kind of talk about what type of relationship you have with your parents. And I hope this conversation opens up doors, or I don't know. I hope it opens up a way to communicate with your parents. Yeah. Or just have a conversation, even if you don't agree with us. If there are things you want us to maybe change or think about or learn, we encourage you to like email us or follow us on Instagram. It would be really, really cool. And thank you so much for watching, and listening. We appreciate you guys. You can find us on YouTube, hopefully soon Spotify and Apple. And yeah.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys, and have a great week.
Yeah, we kind of just cut this one short. It was just getting too long. Yeah, we appreciate you guys, and we hope you stay on.
Okay, bye.
Bye. We'll be calling.